Today, we're going to be ranking all the weapons in Apex Legends. Remember, these lists are very subjective and that you might not agree with every one, but after 12,000 hours in Apex, I feel like I'd be throwing not giving my opinion on it. I'm not going to waste your time, so let's get right into it. Starting with the ARs, we have the Havoc. It was freshly released from the care package and honestly underperforming a ton at the beginning of the Season 25. I had this in C tier until Apex buffed it by 1 damage and improved the recoil immensely. It's crazy how such a small change can make this weapon an absolute force again. A tier. Up next, the Nemesis. The Nemesis offers a unique burst fire mechanic that charges into full auto, providing versatility in combat. Its consistent performances, easy recoil, versatility, and high damage output keeps it up there as one of the best guns and honestly my personal favorite gun in all of Apex Legends. The only downside to this gun is going through ammo so quick, but don't worry, you are going to be farming. S tier. The R301 is a well-rounded weapon, but doesn't excel in any particular area, making it a jack of all trades, but master of none. So many poke and burst weapons completely outclass this gun, but the easy recoil makes this gun a fun all-timer. Not many guns in Apex are unusable, just some are better than others. C tier. The Flatline's recoil and lack of barrel attachments make it harder to control, and it has been overshadowed by other assault rifles in the current meta. This gun can be really good in the right person's hand, but honestly, we're in a meta where this gun doesn't really have a proper place. Marksmen dominate the long range, energy and burst guns dominate the mid to long range, and the P2020s and shotguns, including SMGs, dominate the short range. It's a good gun, but a bad place for it. D tier. Sorry, don't hate me. I love the Flatline, trust me. The Hemlock's burst fire can be effective at mid-range, and with the new gun shield attachment, it adds defensive capabilities during engagements. It's not the best burst gun on the list, but it can definitely feel oppressive and get the job done for early to mid-game. B tier. Next up, LMGs. First, we'll go with the Rampage. The Rampage provides consistent damage and can be charged for increased fire rate, but its slow handling can be a drawback in fast-paced fights. It can be absolutely infuriating in combat, being spammed non-stop by the massive mag size, and not to mention this thing pelts 29 to the body and 36 to the head. Still incredibly viable, you just won't see me picking it up. B tier. Up next, we have the Devotion. The Devotion is incredibly beefy this season, and the handling on it feels insane even when it's not kitted. The one thing they did this season to make the Devotion an absolute force is by giving it turbocharger once you have a purple stock, barrel stabilizer, and energy mag on it. All purple, of course. Or you can just put it in your sling on ballistic and go mental. Not many guns are going to out DPS you with this thing fully kitted. S tier. Up next, the Spitfire. The Spitfire's large magazine size allows for sustained fire, but its lower damage output compared to other LMGs places it in the mid tiers. It's really good early game, but you get eaten alive with it later on. B tier. The L-Star is incredibly easy to use, doesn't need to be reloaded if timed right, has an incredibly easy iron sight to use, and the hipfire is insanely easy to abuse. This gun is overall just a very, very balanced, solid gun, and if it weren't for marksmen running crazy this season, it would probably go higher up. Still really good, just harder to use mid to end game. B tier. On to those pesky marksmen. First up is the 30-30 repeater. With Skull Piercer, it dishes out insane damage, very little bullet drop, high accuracy, and fast ADS speed, making it excellent for mid-range to long-range fights. I mean, seriously, what are you supposed to do when you're getting spammed by a gun that could tap you for 130 to the noggin? It's pretty insane to try and chow with anything that's not a sniper or marksman, but hey, I'll let you figure that out. S tier. Up next, the Triple Take. This hybrid marksman sniper gun is super forgiving with spread and range. It excels in poking and controlling space, especially when charged with energy ammo. It recently got put in the care package with increased damage and rate of fire. This thing is almost an automatic GG if you have to cross any open area with someone on the other side looking at you. If you get it in the care package, please pick it up. S tier. G7 Scout. High damage per shot, low ammo usage. It's perfect for poking and range pressure. You can keep distance and harass enemies all game. Very fast DPS can put you down way faster than you can comprehend or realize. I don't think it's better than the triple at 30-30, but that's just tomato. A tier, but honestly, this could also be S tier too. I mean, it's just preference at that point. The Bocek bow would have also been lower on my list before they upped the damage to the max charge of 65 from 55 and the explosive arrow hit damage being increased to 55 from 40 with an increased fire rate. Did I mention you could charge it up with a grenade to make it shoot explosives? It's not as crazy as you think, but it's cool and does an AoE damage of 25 if you're close enough to it. With headshots slapping for 104 and 65 to the body, with now an increased fire rate, this gun is pretty deadly in the right hands. It also gets an accelerator buff this season. A tier, but also could be argued S tier. On to sniper rifles. The charge rifle has went from a gun that took almost no skill to actually being somewhat of a skill gun. It's still really good with the select fire hop-up, which allows you to spam beams at people, which ramp up damage the further away you are. It's actually horrifying to go up against one of these things with the select fire. B tier. The Sentinel is my other favorite gun, essentially being a pocket Kraber when charged up. The only problem is it's a little slower than some of the marksmen and guns on this list, making it only suitable mid to long range gun at best. It does, however, get the accelerator perk, which can let it hang in the B tier. The longbow is good for long range spam, but it suffers versus Kraber, 30-30, the bow, or even the G7. Needs Skull Piercer to feel somewhat impactful and is often skipped for better options. You could argue B tier, but there's way better options, trust me. C tier. The Kraber has that one-shot kill potential, and it's always an A or S tier weapon when in play. Limited ammo and supply drop only hold it back from being universally reliable. But when you get it, ultimately it's up to you to decide whether it's the best or worst gun. You really need to make your shots count and can be a tad unforgiving, which is why I'm putting it in the A tier, as I think every gun in S tier I'd rather have in most parts of the game. On to the pistols, the Wingman. With the Wingman now taking a laser sight, the hipfire is pretty mental. Also, they increase the rate of fire, and it gains the ability to take a Skull Piercer once again, so it becomes insanely lethal. A tier. The RE45 is overall just outclassed by every gun. It's probably the only gun I can actually consider weak at the moment, as most guns in Apex are pretty viable. No range, subpar damage, subpar recoil, subpar mag size, not even worth your time off the rip. D tier? Maybe even F. It's probably the worst gun in Apex right now. On to the P2020s. What do I even need to say about the P2020s? Even with a nerf to the damage and to the spread of the guns, they're still easily one of the best guns currently in the game. If you look at the top 10 weapons since year 3 of ALGS, the P2020 has 5,024 kills. Before the most recent land, they had 32. Behind the P2020 is the G7 Scout at 2,038 kills. So this may actually be one of the easiest and strongest guns ever in Apex Legends. They're still S tier, even after the nerf. On to shotguns, the Mastiff. The Mastiff can be really devastating in a fight with quick peeks and good precise shots. It just seems super situational now, and you really need 2 to 3 solid shots to kill someone. By the time, there's a ton of guns which would have already mopped the floor with you. C tier, the rest of the shotguns are much better at being effective as a shotgun. Just like the Peacekeeper. When they put this in the care package, they literally made this a shotgun for short, mid, and long range. Because holy hell, this thing can connect for 100 plus damage from 30 to 40 feet away. It also plays very similar to how a Mastiff would, but it just hits way more effectively. If you get clipped by one solid hit, you're probably not recovering. S tier. The Mosin Beaks are heavily outshadowed by the dual P20s, but don't be fooled, these things are still really strong, and I think it's pretty slept on. They may return to meta once and hopefully once the P20s get nerfed, but if you pick them up, trust, you will fry. A tier. Eva is not as oppressive as last season with the damage nerf and higher fire rate, but it's not the gun that's going to run people over. It's an amazing secondary to quickly clean up fights and get in people's faces. Grab a purple shotgun bolt and you will feel unstoppable. B tier. Lastly, we have the SMGs. The Alternator is by no means a bad gun. However, it feels like a compacted Spitfire with low fire rate and honestly is probably one of the least effective SMGs in Season 25. It doesn't really feel like you can get much usage out of it past the early stages of the game, but it's really convenient being light ammo and easy to use. D tier. It's not a bad gun, guys. It's just not better than most of the guns on this list and all the other SMGs. Up next is the Prowler, and I honestly think this gun can be really good if you're in someone's face, but there's just better options currently that are more consistent and effective. Again, aside from the RE45, most guns in Apex are usable in the right hands. Prowler is just vastly outclassed, especially in this meta. C tier. Another gun that's just outclassed not only by its entire ammo group, but by other SMGs on the list is the Volt. I think it can still hit pretty effectively, but it has a lower TTK and the spread is now consistent with all SMGs. If you're comfy with it, don't let my words affect you. It's not terrible. I just wouldn't pick this over the next 2 SMGs. C tier. The Car SMG is not only good for its versatility with 2 ammo types, but it also has incredibly accurate hipfire and it's easy to use. It is the 3rd fastest TTK behind the Prowler and R99, and I think a lot of this list comes down to preference, obviously, but this gun is one I swear by for cleaning up fights. B tier. And lastly, the R99. This gun is either going to be your best friend or your biggest foe, but it's one of the few guns that can actually challenge a P2020. This gun can shred through the enemy's health very quickly, and it's much more forgiving when you have a laser sight and mag. This is easily one of the few SMGs you can bring into an endgame and heavily excel with, especially if you excel with close range combat. The R99 has the fastest TTK out of every gun in Apex Legends, but that's assuming you're Himothy and you hit every single shot. I contemplated putting this in S tier, but I think I'll lay it in high A tier. That's all the weapons in Season 25, and again, I'd like to say that 95% of the guns in Apex Legends are good, just some are easier to use than others and more effective in this meta than other metas. Let me know what you think down below, and if you want a Legends tier list down the road, let me know about that too. I'd love to do that too. Take care, and I will see you on the next one.